Hi, I'm Miss Fung. Today we're going to look at factorizing perfect squares. Recall perfect squares are these formulas over here, where we have a plus b squared gives us a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Whereas when you have the minus as a minus b squared, then this middle term is negative, but everything else looks exactly the same. Now these are the factors, so a plus b times a plus b. And when we expand it, we were going that way. That is, for example, if you had 2 times 3 to give us 6, that is expanding. And when you have the 6 and you want to look for the factors, the 2 and the 3, it is called factorizing. And it's a bit like going backwards. We use these brackets over here to help us expand, and we're going to use the same brackets to help us go backwards and factorize. So these brackets are going to help us look for the a, or the first term, and the b, or the second term. Let's keep this formula at the top there. Now do notice that I've put plus and minus. When you read the formula, you have to read the top line. So if you're reading a plus b squared, then it's a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. But if you're reading the bottom line, so a minus b squared, it is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. You can't go diagonally, okay? Be very careful with that. Recall that last time we did x plus 5 squared gave us that. So today we're going backwards. We want to get from x squared plus 10x plus 25 back to x plus 5 squared. How do we do that? Let's use the brackets. So how do we get to the brackets? What do we put in this bracket to make it equal to x squared? We would have to square root it. So we would write x. And what will we write over here to get 25? What squared gives us 25? It is 5. So we now can fill in the middle term with the x and the 5, and we check. Does 2 times x times 5 give us 10x? Yes, it does. So now we know that our first term, or our a, is x, and our second term, or our b, is 5. So this is called factorizing, where we go from expanded form to the factorized form. Let's use these brackets to try another example. So we have a squared plus 20a plus 100. So we have to figure out what are the two factors that gave us that. So we have something squared gave us a squared, so that is a. Something squared gave us 100, so what's that? 10. 10 squared is 100. Now we fill in the middle two brackets and we check. Does 2 times a times 10, what does that give us? 20a. It does give us the middle term. So now we have a is our first term and the second term is 10. So our factorized form is a plus 10 squared. Let's try another question, this time with a negative. If there's a negative, then make sure that you have the negative in your brackets as well. So here we have what squared gives us x squared, that's x. What squared gives us 81, that is 9. So 9 squared gives us 81. So we can fill in the middle two terms, x and 9, and double check. Minus 2 times 9 is minus 18 times x is minus 18x, which is correct. And now we have our a, or our first term, to be x, and our b, or our second term, to be 9. And don't forget that it has a negative in between. Let's do one more. 9a squared plus 30a plus 25. Let's write the brackets. Now we notice that it has a number as well as our prenumeral. What gives us 9a squared? What squared gives us 9a squared? That is, what times what is 9 and what times what is a squared? It is 3a. And over here, what squared gives us 25? That is 5. So fill in the middle with 3a and 5 and double check. 2 times 3 is 6, 6a times 5 is 30a. So we have 3a plus 5 squared is the factorized form. Let's do some slightly harder questions. What do you notice about these numbers? They're all even, so we can take 2 out as the highest common factor. That's going to simplify our calculations a lot. So now we have x squared, then 48 divided by 2 is 24, don't forget the minus, and 288 divided by 2 is 144. We're going to use the same brackets as before, And this time we're going to use square brackets on the outside so we don't lose that 2. It's very important. So now we have to think what times what gives us x squared, that is x, and what squared gives us 144, that is 12. Put that in the middle and double check. Minus 2 times 12 is minus 24, so that works. And so we have 2x minus 12 all squared. One more. This time they're all divisible by 3. So we take the 3 out, we have 100x squared minus 60 divided by 3 is 20xy, plus divided that by 3 is y squared. Now we think something squared is 100x squared, that is 10x. And we go something squared gives us y squared, that is y. And we fill in the middle with the 2 values that we got. And now we check. Minus 2 times 10x is minus 20x times y is minus 20xy, which is the middle term. So we're correct. So now we can write our 3 and then open bracket 10x plus y all squared. So you can see from these 2 examples that the highest common factors really help so that you don't have to work with huge numbers. Here are 4 more examples for you to try. Pause the video and unpause when you're done to check the answers. So for this one, we have 12 is the square root of that, and then b, and then 12b times 2 is 24. So we have 12 plus b squared as a factorized form. For this one, there's no highest common factor, and we notice that the square root of that is 2a, the square root of that is 3b, and 2a times 3b times 2 does give us 12ab. For this one, again, there's no highest common factor, and we have 11x, and the square root of 16 is 4, but because that's negative, we need that negative over there. This one has a highest common factor, and that is 5. So you take the 5 out of that first. So you get 25x squared minus 30x plus 9. And then we notice the square root of 25x squared is 5x, and square root of 9 is 3. If you found this a little bit tricky, then I would recommend watching the video again. It's important that you try the questions and make sure you have the same answers and that you're comfortable with it. The next video we're building on top of the skill, so it's important that you're able to use this very, very comfortably. If you've watched the video and got all the right answers, well done. You can continue on to the next video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!